Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
I defend my family. I think I do a pretty good job of defending my family.
Hi, Mario.
Hi, how are you, Angel?
I'm good, thank you. We have Mario and Paul here, but Paul was having a problem getting on, so he's on speakerphone. Paul Romo and Mario Mancini.
Yeah.
So,
nice to be here.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear him.
He said nice to be here.
Okay, nice. Thank you. It's nice to have you here.
Yes.
Yes. I was thinking about this today. Whenever I think about wrestling, I always think about my grandfather, because that's what I would do with my grandfather on a Saturday night. I don't know how old you gentlemen are, but I'm 63. So Saturday nights back when I was little was on WWOR TV. And every Saturday night at 11 o'clock, wrestling would come on. And it was the most best, it was the greatest night always for me, because my grandfather used to come and hang out with me. So were you part of that wrestling genre then? Were you part of that era? I mean, not genre.
No, but I'll take this one because as the lore has it, when Roma broke into professional wrestling, he broke in to become a professional wrestler. However, he wasn't a wrestling historian. I, however, am. So that wrestling came on right after horse racing from Yonkers.
Yes, because my parents were at Yonkers. That's right.
You are right after horse racing from Yonkers.
Yes.
And the reason why I became a professional wrestler was watching wrestling at that time was a guy named Bruno Sammartino.
Yes, we love Bruno.
Right. So he inspired me to as a young kid to say, gee, I really want to be a professional wrestler. Although I wanted to be the next Bruno Sammartino, it didn't work out that way. It worked out quite the opposite. So, but so you said you're 63.
Yeah.
So you got 5 years on me. So if you were watching it
in the
70s, if you went in 1972 or 73, Pedro Morales might have been the heavyweight champion at the time.
I think it was a little bit more, 75, 76, like
all right,
that.
so
Bruno
was still the heavyweight champion then. In 1977, superstar Billy Graham beat Bruno Sammartino for the title, and then superstar Billy Graham was a bridge for a year as they built up Bob Backlund to take the title from superstar Billy Graham. But in the meantime, you were watching a guy named Big Cat Ernie Ladd. You were watching Andre. You were watching Ivan Putski.
That's it. Ivan Putski, the Mighty Igor.
Mighty Igor used to come in with a piece of kibasi and eat it in the ring.
Yes, right?
Yeah. Angel, I'm really hitting that memory now. I'm hitting that memory. Yes. Yeah. And you had Argentina Apollo and
the Italian Connection. Remember the Italian? What was it? What was it?
Dino Bravo.
That's it. Gino.
Dino Bravo, and it might have been Gino Brito.
Gino, yes.
Yeah, Gino Brito. So I was there, watching it with you. So that That's the wrestling I still believe in. That's the wrestling Roma still believes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those were the good days, the good old days.
Yeah.
They really were. And my grandfather, he was a character. My grandfather would tell me, what do you, it was funny because he would say, put the wrestling on. When's the wrestling coming on? He would call it wrestling. And then he would sit there and I would get so excited, like, get your hands off of him. I would start yelling, cut it out, leave him alone. Come on, kick his ass. And my grandfather used to say, this is all fake. What's wrong with you? This is fake. And I would say, no, it's not, Grandpa. It's not fake. And I would get so into it. And I knew, like, because I'm sorry, my voice is gone because I was sick. But we knew how much time we had because my mother and father would be at the racing, the races, and my grandfather would be babysitting for us. So I'll never forget. Those were like the best memories for me of spending time with my grandfather watching wrestling.
Yeah. They were for me too. I tell Roma and I run Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling School and Promotion in East Haven, Connecticut. We've had it for 10 years, and we teach up and coming wrestlers. Obviously how to work in the ring. And every now and then I'll, one of my students will get in a conversation, and I'll actually say, I miss being a wrestling fan. I can never be a wrestling fan again, ever. And I really miss being a wrestling fan. You're right. It was a lot of fun. But once I got into the business and found out what it was all about and this and that and this and that, it'll never happen. But you think you used to get excited in the early 80s, it was hit or miss. So cable just came on. Got cable in 78, the push button box.
Yes.
But 11 channels.
Wow.
It had Madison Square Garden. And on a Monday night, once a month, Vince would go to Madison Square Garden. And sometimes it had it and sometimes it didn't. And at 8 o'clock, at 7:59, I was 12 years old, 13. I'd be standing staring at the TV, that big wooden box of a TV with the with the record player.
Yes. Oh my God, that's right.
I'm looking, and then when I would see that come on and that ring would come on, I'd go crazy because it was being televised.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't, oh my God, I
know sometimes you would miss one Saturday. They would not put it on.
Yeah, I'd be miserable.
When you go crazy that it wasn't on. I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such good memories.
Yeah.
Really, I had such great memories with him with that. And
That's
then, beautiful. But then, like you get older now, I'm older and I'm really not into wrestling anymore. But now I have a son who now gets into wrestling big time, and he's into Bret the Hitman Hart and what's his name? Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Who?
Triple
H.
Molly.
Yeah, Triple H. I think there was a group of them at one time. It was like X-Pac and China and Triple H and Shawn Michaels at one point in time. Generation X is what they were, I believe.
Yeah, it's the Attitude Era there in the late 90s. Yep.
And I remember I got to take my nephews and my son to I think it was Madison Square Garden, I'm not sure, for Bret Hart was it was the big thing. It was going to be him. I don't remember who the other person was. And like we were all dressed like with the pink shirt and the sunglasses. I bought the kids that we all matched. And I told my nephews all the way there, I said to my nephews, I'm telling you right now, if Bret is losing, I'm jumping in the ring. I was so scared when we got there. They
funny.
were so scared because I had them convinced I was going to jump in the ring.
That's funny.
Yeah. So now, what do you do? So you have this school, and you have anybody going into professional wrestling?
Yeah, we just had one kid sign with the WWE. Hopefully, a couple will be behind him. It's rough. It's hard to get in now. It's harder to get in these days than anything, because you don't only have the WWE, you have their minor league, affiliate NXT. So even if you sign, you got to start off at NXT before you can go to the WWE.
Is the NWO still?
No, the New World Order. That was the WCW. Vince bought them and disbanded that company.
Oh, he did. I think
oh
that's
yeah,
what my son
yeah,
was into. I'm not sure.
yeah. Vince was ruthless. So
Really? So
Oh,
he bought them in. And so what's left now?
well, you have the WWE, you have AEW, who's really struggling because he won't listen to anybody, who knows the wrestling business. So you have AEW, the WWE, you have what else is there, Roma?
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
AEW.
Ring of Honor, yeah.
Ring of Honor sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
The other stuff doesn't.
Yeah.
So now I really don't know this, but now Paul Roma was a wrestler, right?
A very successful one, yeah.
Yeah. No, but he was Lee was telling me something. He was called a jobber.
No, that's me.
Oh, you're the jobber.
I'm the
Okay,
jobber.
I'm sorry. Okay,
I'm
sorry.
yeah, I'm the jobber. I'm the Mama Luke.
Oh my God, that's not
Oh my
nice.
God.
Yeah, Roma wasn't a Mama Luke. Roma was he was carved out of stone, man. This guy had one of the best bodies in wrestling, and he used it, and he benefited from all that hard work, man. But I'm the Mama Luke, not him.
Oh God. So when I was telling people that we were going to be doing this, they wanted me to ask you questions because there's a lot of things that people don't know about the two of you, like your personal life, and how did you two meet? Are you two like best friends and stuff?
Yeah, for about 40 years now.
40 years.
Wow, you know each other 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you both married with children?
Now we're both divorced with children.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are your
I had a
children into
question.
wrestling?
No.
Oh, your children aren't into it.
No, I have 3 daughters.
Oh, okay.
So no, but Roma's daughter is a world-class athlete. So.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. What's the training process like? And I've seen a whole. Is it true? All right. So did they really cut themselves when they when you get hit and stuff to make for effect and things of that nature? Like, what is the whole training process like to do that in front of a group of people? Like, how do you prep people for that?
You want me to take this one?
Sure.
There is no prepping. It's as they call it, you need to get some color. And if you've never done it and you don't want to do it, somebody will do it for you, which is, a no-no. Or you do it yourself if you have the nerve to, take what we consider a blade and, make the necessary cuts in your forehead to make the blood come out.
You really do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was just describing.
Wow. I thought you had the little packets, blood packets, and you pop it, blood will come out of your mouth, or you pop it on your forehead.
If you watch, any of the matches go back a ways, and these guys they bleed, they continue to bleed. So there's,
Oh,
you
wow.
how many blood packets can you open up? How many can you carry?
Yeah,
So
I've never. Wow. So it really wasn't fake then. So my grandpa was wrong.
He was very wrong. There's no such thing as
Wow.
fake blood in wrestling.
Right.
So
And
it wasn't fake.
when Mario got his nose broken, that wasn't fake either.
Yeah, 2 places. Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the injuries that you two both, break? Like you broke your nose in 2 spots, and what about Paul? What's the worst injury you've gotten?
Probably my neck.
You broke your neck?
Yeah, T1, which caused a problem with C3 and C4 in my neck. I could only turn my neck to a certain degree to the left and a little further than a little degree to the right. But yeah, so people don't understand that something has to give. When you're getting slammed in the ring, you're jumping off the top ropes, you're flying out of the ring down to the ground. Something has to give. It's a human body.
Exactly.
You can't always land perfect. And even when you land perfect, just think about, 250-pound impact coming down on, those ankles and the knees and, your spine. Even if you land, again, on your flat feet, there's still the impact. Something has to give eventually. And it does.
And
Over time, it does.
are you provided with like health coverage? There's no health plan in wrestling.
That's a big no. So you have to remember something about the WWF or the people we wrestled for. Vince McMahon was in it to make money. So if he was to give us health insurance, he would be spending some money out of his own pocket. And that wasn't going to happen. So he made us independent contractors, even though we couldn't go and wrestle for other companies. So you're telling us we're independent, but we can't go and wrestle for anybody else. So we're not independent. An independent contractor, like somebody who cuts lawns. They cut your lawn, they cut your neighbor's lawn, they go down the street, they cut a bunch of people's lawns. That's an independent contractor. Well, we can't wrestle for anybody else, but that was his way. He made you sign the contract, or as they would put it, you sign it or you don't. You don't sign it, you don't wrestle for him. So you signed it.
So
And
now
you were forbidden.
Okay, so now you get hurt, and the insurance, your health coverage pays for it.
You don't have health coverage.
They can't, right?
No, my nose back in '84, the hospital bill was $3,300 to go in there and reset it. I paid it over time. I was only 18 years old. I was the youngest wrestler in the WWF. I was the youngest wrestler in the contract. I broke in 6 weeks after I turned 18, after I graduated high school. So I didn't have insurance or anything like that. So that was $3,300. I paid it over time. You know what I mean? So there's no health insurance. A couple of guys took out their own policies. Like there was a guy called Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
and he took out a Lloyd's of London policy. The premium was $5,000 a month, but when he got hurt, they paid him. But he paid the premium, not Vince. He did.
Oh wow!
Right.
Yeah.
So you would make that kind of money that you could cover $5,000 a month just for your.
Kurt would.
I was going to say that you.
Well,
So
that's what I was. Yeah, that in other words, he would make that kind of money to
Kurt would, yeah.
he's emphasizing there.
Not Angel, not the Mama Luke. Kurt.
I understand. So, like somebody like the Undertaker would be able to afford that as well.
Yeah. The Undertaker is a very much a multi-millionaire, and
Okay.
I like to think I had something to do with that because I kicked off his career. I'm the first guy he ever wrestled in the WWF.
Really?
I was his debut
wow.
man. Yeah. So,
I mean that they used to make like a spectacular show out of him coming out.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
At any given point at his height on a paper, he can make $1 million on a pay-per-view. $2 million.
Right. Exactly. Oh, okay. I see.
So
Yeah, he was a big draw.
Yeah. His personal appearance.
I am his worth.
His personal appearance fee right now today is $250,000.
Are you kidding? He's still doing this, huh? And
Personal appearance, sign autographs.
Just to sign autographs.
Yeah. And then when you go up to get his autograph, it's $250.
Oh, $250 for his autograph?
Yeah, just for the record, Angel, my autograph's $20, and if you want to a picture on your phone with me, the combination's $30. It's another $10. I do a lot of wrestling conventions.
Oh, wow. And what about Paul?
Paul, yeah. He does a lot of them too.
Oh, wow. That's something. And do you feel like how do you feel about Hulk Hogan?
Oh, that's a good one. I want to hear this.
No, Roma, you take that, Roma.
I want to hear this.
You take that, Roma.
Well, I have.
You got to put him closer to the mic.
I liked Hogan in the beginning. Traveling with him was okay. I don't want to sound like a little sissy, but this is probably the best way to put it. Maybe people will understand. He broke my heart, disappointed me in Detroit at a show. He made a comment about kids that were coming in to see us that were not feeling well, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
And, so he made a comment. I heard it, and it, it just turned me sour towards him. So I really don't have any use for him anymore. So whatever.
Wow.
It's always he's always under a microscope when he does something that I see. Like, when he went out and he started talking, for Donald Trump when they brought him into the Republican convention. It was all about Hogan. It wasn't about Donald Trump. He has to tear his shirt off and he has to flex his muscles. It's always about him. It's never about anybody else. It's, I don't think he's ever done anything that he didn't benefit from. It's never about anybody else. If it's about little kids or sick kids, it's because he's getting paid or he has something up his sleeve. Okay, he came out the other night to WWE, and he's promoting his beer, and he's doing his little stitch about brother this and brother that, and Jimmy Hart's there with the American flag, and they're booing Hogan. And when they got done, and they asked Hogan about it, Hogan said that he didn't know why they were booing Jimmy Hart. They weren't booing him; they were booing Jimmy Hart. But let's look at, let's take one step back. Jimmy Hart is carrying the American flag. There is nobody booing Jimmy Hart. They are booing Hulk Hogan. And he walked away with his torn shirt around his knees. He couldn't even rip the thing apart and rip it off. He looked absolutely ridiculous. Hogan is always about Hogan. He doesn't care about anybody else but himself. So you know what? I have no use for that man.
Oh wow. Wow.
That's the real Kerry.
Yeah. I was never a Hogan fan anyway, so. What about Bret the Hitman Hart? Did you like him?
Brett was a super nice guy.
And what about his brother?
Oh, you never wanted to meet a nicer kid
Oh, see, that breaks my heart.
in your life. You never wanted to meet somebody nicer, more kind, courteous, respectful, funny. You never wanted to meet a nicer guy in your life. And Brett too. Brett, they just have class. You have to remember something, Angel. There's people that get into the wrestling business. They have talent. They're successful. It's not that they don't love the wrestling business. Then you have the ones that have the birthright. Wrestling was their life. Now, you got the Hart family in Calgary. Stu Hart, his father, started wrestling business, 40 years before he even had kids. He had his own wrestling company there, and he started having all these kids, and the whole family was nothing but professional. Stampede was the name of the company. And these guys didn't go out and work jobs and stuff. They became a stable in the wrestling company. And it's just, as I say, when it comes to Bret Hart, he had a rite of passage when he was in his mother's stomach. There's some people like that. David Sammartino had the same opportunity, but he hated his father so much he didn't take it. But
really?
Oh yeah. But so, you get these people that, again, for lack of a better term, they are wrestling. They're blood wrestlers. I mean, look at the Samoan family. You got High Chief Peter Maivia. Remember him back in the 70s?
Yes.
Tattoos all over his legs.
Yes, wow.
High Chief Peter Maivia. Well, that's the Rock's grandfather. And then then you got Rock's father, Rocky Johnson. Right?
I never knew that.
That was tag team champions with Tony Atlas. And then you have their cousins, the Wild Samoans. Then out of the Wild Samoans, you have Yokozuna.
Oh my God, Yokozuna. Wow.
Yeah, all these guys have legacies and they have a right of entry. What Roma and what's called in the business, they're bloodborne. They're bloodborne into the business. And they have a rite of passage. Jabronis like me had to try. I didn't have any. Listen, I'd never want another. I'd never want another father. My father was my hero. My father, fought in World War II in the Battle of the Bulge. He worked 43 years. He raised 6 kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Silver Star, Purple Heart.
Yeah. You got the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star in World War II.
Dad had a Purple Heart. Wow.
And a Bronze Star. He saved the lieutenant under gunfire. But Angel, you know what it's like. Listen. My mother didn't have a driver's license. She didn't know how to drive a car.
Exactly.
All she did was,
I know.
She stayed home and raised 6 kids.
Exactly.
That's what she did. And then on Sunday, it was a big to-do.
Yeah.
It was a big, and the big to-do, you sat down at 1:30, 2 o'clock, you got up from the table at 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's classic.
You were very what's the word? You were very disciplined at that table.
Oh yeah, you got a beating when you got a beating.
You were very well behaved.
Yeah, Roma and I grew up very similarly. Had a similar father, great guy. You know what I mean? So but they weren't wrestlers. We wouldn't trade them for the world.
They were real heroes.
Yeah.
Number one, they brought us up right. It was all about respect, showing respect to everybody until you're disrespected. You worked hard, you worked for everything you got. And we didn't have a rite of passage. We had to work for it. And if
you had to work real hard,
well, then you weren't going to go anywhere. and it's a sad thing, but it's real. It's just how it is, and not much has changed today. Not in wrestling, not in big business. It's the way it is. You get a president of a company to go to another company, and he takes his buddies with him, and they just move from company to company. They always have a job. Well, same thing with wrestling. You whether you want to do it or not, you're part of the bloodline, and some become more successful than others. Just how it is. And then it's the guys, the grunts that are breaking their ass, working hard, trying to be stand-up people, and then you run into these guys, and a lot of them aren't stand-up. They're in it for themselves. They're in it to cut your throat because they want to get ahead. They want to be ahead of you. It was probably, actually, I'm not going to say probably. It is the most dog-eat-dog business, cutthroat business I ever stepped into. And being a stand-up guy, I didn't expect that. I didn't see it coming until it was, kind of too late. And then you try to make your way back up the ladder once you've been kicked off your climb on the way up. You get kicked down the climb. Like, well, what am I doing down here again? What did I do wrong? Well, unbeknown to you, you got guys that are spewing lies about you because they're trying to protect their position in the wrestling world. And instead of men being men, they're not that at all. They don't come up to you like, let's say, Vince or a Pat Patterson or a Terry Garvin or an Arnold Skolin. They don't come up to you and question you and say, hey, I heard you did this or I heard you did that. Is this true? They don't do that. They take it for what it's worth from the person that told them, and then they spread the lie, and then you get punished for it, and you don't know why. And it's all because somebody wanted to keep you down.
Wow.
So, my thing is, even though we have a wrestling school, and we train our students very well, and we're proud of that. It's a tough business to break into, harder now than it was with us then.
Wow.
And, like in AEW, they seem to treat the wrestlers really well, and that's a good thing.
So let's. Okay, I wanted to ask you two things. One, so with all these injuries, do a lot of the wrestlers get addicted to pain meds and stuff?
I mean, with all my injuries, I never did. Did they? Did I, hear of people? Yes. Quite a few.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And how was it when Owen Hart died the way that he did? Did that send like shockwaves through, the whole wrestling community and stuff?
I think it had an effect on everybody that knew him.
It should have. It should have, but you have to remember something, Angel. The thing that is most offensive and always will be about the death of Owen Hart is the show went on.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah,
Is it true that
the dead body was removed. Yeah, the show went on.
Why?
Because Vince McMahon's not going to want to give people their money back.
Oh my!
He's not going to do. He is not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Listen, when Owen died, that was so horrible and it was so disregarded, but his wife made out very well.
Yeah.
Because she sued and she got millions. And she doesn't live the high life on it. She opened up a lot of organizations and a lot of foundations, and and a lot of charities in his name, and she's using it for that. So, but the thing about it is, listen, there's a separation. There are the wrestlers, and then there's the office, and the two shall never meet. Right? When you're in the WWF, you want to stay away from the office as much as possible, because if you get involved with the office and the other guys find out that you're that close to the office, guess what you become? You become a stooge.
Oh.
You're a stooge. So you don't want to be pegged as a stooge. So so the guys, of course, the boys, and nobody really knows what it's like to be a professional wrestler unless you really do it. Even though Vince went in there and did it, that was just a pipe dream. That was just his fantasies. I mean, a real professional wrestler, and you got that camaraderie, and you travel like Roma and I traveled together a lot, and you say we're friends. It goes so far beyond that. And like, we might as well have the same blood running through our veins.
Right, you're more like brothers.
You're right. That's how close we are, and we're not the only ones that form that kind of bond in that business.
Really?
So, right. So when something like that happens, it hurts. It hurts the wrestlers a lot more than it does the office.
Yeah, they don't care. They have insurance on you.
That's disgusting.
Oh, that is.
I always heard the rumor that they had insurance on all of us. Because I had said something one day. I said, "Man, we're flying." We flew into Nova Scotia, I believe it was, and so I looked at, actually Pat Patterson was on the flight, and I looked at Pat. I said, "We're not landing," and he goes, "Oh, we're going to land," and I'm like, "No, there's no way. I mean, we're coming into a blizzard," and we landed the plane, and as we were taxiing, we did a 360 in the plane. I mean, completely spun around. And I was like, what's up with this? I said that to somebody, and they go, they got insurance on us. You go, what do you think? You think he's flying us in on a Lear, and we're not insured? He's making money if we die. And I was like, wow, that's deep. That's really deep. But it makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense. Why not? And then if somebody dies, well, you're not taking the money out of your pocket because you've been paying for insurance. So sorry that Owen, when he passed away, let's just say he had depending upon where he was on the food chain, let's say he had a $10 million policy. He gives the wife $6, $7, $8 million. He still makes $2 million. I mean, it's a numbers game.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's how you have to look at it, right? I mean, you can't lose the Undertaker. There's your bankroll. So what do? You insure him. Sure, he may have insurance, but you insure him. Why not?
So the Undertaker, you're saying, is still under Vince McMahon's thumb?
Oh, that we don't know. We don't. I don't think so anymore. I think he's, if they bring him in, it's on contingencies, right?
Yeah. He's contracted under a company called Fitterman.
Oh, so he doesn't make any of the money when Undertaker, as an example, the Undertaker. So Vince McMahon's not making the money when he's going out and getting that $250,000 fee.
No, I mean he's got a contract with Fitterman. I would think.
Okay.
Well, listen, Vince, of course, has sour grapes because his baby was taken from him. So there's rumors that he's going to be opening up an entertainment company. So, but at this point, to compete is at number one at 78 years old. Number two, we were just talking about sitting in our living room during the 70s watching WWOR Channel 9,
Yes, Channel 9. You're from New York?
Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Channel
Stanford.
9.
I
That's
was born in
right.
I was born in Stanford, right over the line.
Okay. So I
Right,
didn't know. I didn't realize that we have the same channels.
right,
Wow.
right after horse racing from Yonkers. So,
Yes.
you're talking about a local with a territory wrestling company. Back then, Vince ran from Maryland to Maine. That was his territory. And you even had people in there that owned those territories that Vince would go in and pay them a fee to go into their territory, like a guy like Muskie Salo up in Maine or whatever. We went from that in the 70s to Netflix, where now not only do you get wrestling fans from the United States, all over the world.
Yeah.
Now they've expanded worldwide. So I don't know. It's gotten so far gone. I don't know how Vince is going to be able to, put something together that's going to compete with that company. But he is Vince McMahon. Who knows?
Yeah,
But isn't he being sued and aren't they trying to
Seems
take
like he's
him
got his
down?
hands full. He's got his hands full.
I think it's going to be hard for him to do it from jail, run a company, but you never know with him.
You never do know. Listen,
Is
we'll
that
tell
what everybody thinks?
yeah,
Is
we'll
that
tell
what
you this.
everybody thinks?
We'll
Yeah.
tell you this, Angel. We'll tell you this.
Okay. Because I'm very close with Lee Cole, and he tells me, all the time, oh, he's going down. But, you know,
Well,
I'm like, man, is he really?
Father's going to leave you with something.
Listen, here's the thing with him. He defecated on somebody's head.
What?
What?
Yeah. Listen, pretty soon in a few months,
Yeah.
yours truly included, Mr. Roma included, you're going to see a major documentary
Yes.
on
Yes, I
TV.
know. Oh, I didn't realize
Oh,
you two were a part of it.
Yeah, and it's not going to be that fluff stuff that was on Netflix.
Oh. What's it
So
going to be on? Oh, you're not allowed to say.
well, I know I don't need those people inbox me going, what the hell is wrong with you? We
Yeah, all
signed
right.
contracts,
Okay.
they were very generous. So we appreciate it. We appreciate everything at this point.
Right.
So a documentary is going to come out. Listen, the wrestling business was a very dirty business. Very dirty business. And I'm going to say this. I am going to say this. So my daughter's in the living room. I like the TV's going. Listen, you go. You listen. You're Steven Tyler, right?
Yes.
You're Aerosmith. You go play a gig, right?
Yeah.
You go back to your 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
What do you think is waiting there for you?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And how many of them?
Oh.
But you're nice and cordial, and maybe
Wait, is that a 6-pack of beer?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're nice, you're cordial, you're kind. You bring in the drummer, the bass player, the lead guitarist. All right. Everybody plays spin the bottle. Everybody has fun. Everybody goes out to breakfast. Everybody hugs and walks away. It's all consensual. It's the name of the game. You know what I mean? And it's not done with any kind of malice or anything like that. It's all consensual. But when you have an employee that you're passing around, and that's the best job she ever had in her life, and she's scared to death to lose it. And then all of a sudden that, she's turned on to that guy in the department, that guy in that department, that guy in that department, that guy in that department. And then there's 2 or 3 guys in a room and just her, and this is being done and that is being done. And all of a sudden somebody turns around and just takes a dump on her head and tells her you have to stay there with it in there. I mean, what are you looking at? You're looking at a pretty serious assault, sexual assault. You're looking at possibly sex trafficking because, you know, you're saying, hey, oh, it's like, you know, a new root beer, you know, like, hey, you got to try this. You know what I mean? So Vince did some pretty he did some, yeah, it was pretty.
I would take that pile of crap out of my hair and I would shove it right in his face, in his mouth, in his eyes, in his nose, and his ears. I don't understand how anybody can tolerate that.
For some reason,
I don't care how much I'm getting paid. I would stuff it right up his. I'm not going to curse, but I would stuff it right up his effing nose and see how he likes it.
And you know, Angel,
after I throw up, though.
For some reason, I don't know what reason, but for some reason, Roma and I actually believe that.
I do believe that.
Angel, we want it on the record, and we want everybody to know that we believe you.
Lee Cole, he'll tell you.
I'll go grab the Bible. I believe you.
I'll never get why anybody would tolerate that. I don't care how much you're getting paid.
I have to ask this because I've heard this either way. I've got to ask this. The Montreal screw job, was it staged or was it real? Because I can't imagine him allowing somebody to spit in his face on national television with this ego you guys are kind of alluding that he has.
Yeah, but he didn't let him. He had no choice. I mean, if you're standing at ringside and I'm yelling down at you, you're not expecting me to spit on you. You're not going to be able to move out of the way. I mean, what are the odds of him hitting him?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He hit him, and I mean, he said he punched him in the back, and I was actually watching that.
Well, he did.
He was doing a documentary at the same time that happened, and they asked him what happened, and he said, "I decked him, I punched him," and he came out. He looked like and I was like, "No way!" I mean, were people scared of him? It seemed like he had a lot of power to make or break you.
You're scared for your job. You're scared for your job.
Okay, it's not so much him; it's the job.
Think about this. You're being contracted, right? You're self-employed. So you go and cut somebody's lawn, and they come out and they go, "What'd you do? Look at that bald spot on my lawn." You're going to do everything you can to fix it, right? Because you don't want to lose the job.
Gotcha.
If that's what you're doing. So when you're in wrestling, it's not much different than that. So he's the boss because it's his company. So he tells you go out and get beat. And, you know, he tells you do this or do it that way or whatever. And you're basically like, well, I really don't want to do it that way, but what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to make this kind of money? Especially back then. Where am I going to make this kind of money? Think about it. You're back when we were wrestling, I think we're making, what, $200 a week at a regular job, Mario? Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you think about making $3,000 a week back then. There's a big difference. You want to lose that $3,000 a week? Now you've gone into a different home with your family. You said, oh, well, I can afford to have another kid. You have another kid. Well, now you're really screwed because now you better play by the rules. You have no choice in the matter. You're not, you know, in that position to do anything else. So it's not easy to walk away. You know, they hold all the cards.
Well, didn't he go to ECW after that?
WCW.
Did I go there?
WCW.
Okay.
Brett did, yeah.
Brett, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Marla, you want the story, Marla?
Yeah, I'm curious.
All right. So they went up to Brett and said, "We need you to drop the belt to Sean." And he said, "No problem. I have no problem doing that, just not in Canada. I won't do it."
Oh, that's where he's from.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That's why they call it the Montreal. Yeah.
Right, not in Canada. And Vince is like, "Well, that's not the way it's done." You know what I mean? And he's like, "Listen, I'm not going to do it in Canada. I won't do it." He said, "I'll tell you what, I'll vacate it. I'll vacate it." Now Roma knows better than me because he puts these things together. I'm good at booking venues and stuff like that and doing the business end of Paradise Alley, but he comes up with some pretty wild storylines, Roma. So he knows better than anybody. There's more than one way to skin a cat. They could have did a no disqualification match, or they could have did. They could have said anything exchanges the belts, meaning the only way you can win a belt is by submission or pinfall. They could have set something up where anything wins the belt. Like if you get counted out, you lose the belt. Anything but getting your shoulders. That's a big thing in pro wrestling, getting your shoulders pinned in the middle. That's a big thing. So for somebody to get counted out or disqualified, it like still keeps them alive.
Right.
They didn't get pinned. Now, me personally, if you asked me how many lights were on every ceiling in most of the arenas in the country, I'd be able to tell you. So I can tell you that, Angel. So they could have done it a lot of different ways. So, when Sean did that and went to reverse Brett's own finish, that's how he ends all his matches with that sharpshooter. The minute Sean got in it, Vince started screaming, "Ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell." And Sean and Brett didn't submit, right? That wasn't the end of the match. So now Sean lets go, he's gone, and Brett's in the ring going, What I just got screwed. What happened? What they just did this to me? They just did. You know what it is, guys? You'll understand it perfectly, right? If I put it to you this way. You're on stage singing your song and they drop the curtain on you halfway through it.
Wow.
Yeah. So then that means under that theory, he was in on it. Brett was in on it.
Brett was not in on it.
He wasn't.
That's why he spit on Vince, and that's why he punched him in the face.
Oh, I wish I could see that. Maybe
You
Joe
could. There's
Marla, it's a documentary.
There's a documentary on the whole thing.
Yeah, Angel, you could just watch the documentary. It was a part of Brett's. That's what I was saying. Brett was doing a documentary at the time this happened. That's how I saw it. But I didn't know if it was really real or not, because I was like, well, he let him spit on him in front of everybody. And then they went into a room. Just him and Vince went into a room. And then Brett came out, and Vince kind of came out not really holding his eye, but you could tell something that happened because it wasn't. And then he had like a mark. And I'm thinking, he's still mic'd up and everything. Was this a show, or was it really?
No, and that's the problem. That's the problem with pro wrestling.
Did anything happen to him that he did that to Vince McMahon?
He didn't sue him or nothing. Yeah, and he didn't sue him or anything for punching him, and he didn't do anything for him spitting on him. No. It was just a done deal.
Think about this.
Yeah.
Ask yourself this question: if a woman came up to you, and let's take out what you would do. If a woman came up to you and you're running a company, right? And it's one of your employees comes into your office, you get into a little conversation, a to-do, and she slaps you or whatever the case may be. And then she walks out, right? So you never put your hands on her, but she walks out and she tells everybody, I slapped her in the face. Do they really know? Did that really happen? He never acknowledged.
Yeah.
So this is all hearsay, regardless of being on his face or his face being red or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It wasn't like his nose was pushed to one side of his face. So, again, do I think it happened? Yes. I think he was mad enough, whether he punched him or slapped him or whatever he did to him.
Yeah.
I think it was done. And I think Vince walked out with his lips sealed, like acting like nothing ever happened and nobody's any the wiser.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think
So in your opinion, you think that he's going to get in trouble for all the crap that he's done to people, all the bad things he's done to so many people? You think that he will get in trouble?
I think he's like the doctor that put his hands on all the gymnasts. I think
Oh, wow.
he went over the top, and people finally came out and said enough's enough. We're going to expose him and his company for what they really were over all these years.
Because I was wondering, how come no one's done it before?
Well,
Like how does he keep getting away with it up until now? Or I don't,
because who's
like
gonna
nothing really happened now.
who's gonna listen? The girls came out. They talked about being touched. Did anybody listen? No. And then 20 of them got together, and the world listened after that, didn't they?
Okay.
I mean, you could shut one up, or you could discredit one, possibly two. But now when you have 20, it's pretty hard to tell everybody that they're lying. And that's what it's come down to. It was easy for him to make deals and renege on the deals. And people would say, well, he did this to me, or, this happened to me. And people are like, yeah, sure, whatever. Well, now 20 people, 30 people come out. The world has to listen. Just like they listen to the gymnast, they're going to listen to this.
So now, the lawsuit is out there, right? I don't hear anything about it. Nothing.
I don't know. That's a Mario question.
Yeah, I don't hear anything about it.
Well, you got to remember when you file a lawsuit, when it goes through the court system at first, that's when it's big news, right? Lawsuit is just filed. After a lawsuit is filed, you have to go through a process called the discovery process.
Right.
And then depositions need to be taken. And then if there's no agreement, then, maybe you go through a pre-trial. And then if nothing's agreed to, at that point, you go through for a full-blown trial. When it comes to this, prosecutors have to be involved, to see if they have enough evidence, to go after him criminally, aside from the civil suits, so, and you got to remember something, when somebody's convicted, of something like that, the civil suit is easier. Why is the civil suit easier? Well, because in a criminal case, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil case, it's preponderance of the evidence.
Exactly.
So if it's more likely than not that this happened, and that's a lower standard. So if he gets convicted of crimes and they go sue him civilly, they're going to say, listen, it's already, a higher standard has already been proven that he did this stuff, and that the civil suit will be a layup for these people. But you got to remember something. Janelle Grant, who he defecated in her hand, allegedly,
right?
He promised $3 million to. He gave her $1 million and then stiffed her. Imagine if he gave her the other $2 million, we wouldn't even be talking about this probably.
Exactly.
But that's Vince. That's Vince. That's what he. Listen, he promised Bret Hart's father, I don't know how much money for his territory up in Calgary to buy his territory. He said, okay, I think he gave him like $100,000. Then never gave him another nickel and never paid Brett's father off at all. So, Vince
did he end up taking it back?
No, Vince ended up.
Let's sum it up. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to remember something. If Stu did something like that, you have Bret Hart in there. You have Owen Hart in there. You have Bret's brother-in-law who married his sister, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, in there. So you got the family in there. If he pressed it, Vince will just get rid of everybody. Just get rid of everybody then. You're all fired. You know what I mean? Listen, you just had to do things, and a line was drawn for myself and Roma, especially when it came to Pat Patterson, the vice president. You know what I mean? He was a homosexual, and that was his preference. And anybody who has that preference, it's their business.
Right.
Go live your life and be happy.
Right.
It's not mine. It's not mine. But for the guys that it wasn't theirs either, they got pressured to do that. You know what I mean? They got pressured to do that, or they would pay a price if they didn't do it. I mean, even look at Lee's brother, what he went through, what they did to him. So, there were things, and there were some that ultimately I wouldn't do, but there were things in wrestling I didn't want to do. So I'm in Canada, and I'm working with two other guys in a 6-man tag team, and I'm working with the Funk brothers. I'm working with Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., and Jimmy Jack Funk. And Chief J Strongbow, who became like my second father, he looked at me, he said, all right, kid, you're going to get hogtied at the end of the match. They're going to tie your wrists, your ankles. They're going to pull your trunks down, and they're going to brand your ass with an ink branding iron that says FB for the Funk Brothers. Well, Angel, I did everything to keep my father away from that TV. I did everything to keep him. And he saw the match. And he just dropped his head, and he just got up and walked away. I'm like, Dad, it's the rest. And he's like, no.
Wow.
And he just walked away. Calabrese.
Yes. And how did that affect you?
It broke my heart, because every son wants their father to be proud of them. You know what I mean? So, but I'm happy to say that the little town newspaper in Milford, Connecticut, the Milford Citizen, he made it on the cover one time. He made it on the back page one time from walking around town with my ring jacket on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So, I was on TV every week. So, but I'll tell you a funny story though. So Tony Altomar, he trained me, and it was time for me to turn pro. And he goes, nobody's going to be able to pronounce your real name. There's no ring announcer in this country that's going to be able to do that.
Mancini?
No. So he goes, I know your mother's maiden name is Mancini.
Okay.
He goes, I know your mother's maiden name is Mancini. He goes, and he went through every name, Guido, Vito, Anthony, Giuseppe. He went through them all. And then he said, Mario Mancini, that's your name. I said, okay. He goes, you can't be from Milford, Connecticut, though. That's boring. I go, where am I from? He goes, Sinatra was from Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh my God.
You're from Hoboken, New Jersey. And Marla, you can research this if you'd like. So from about 1984 to 1986, when you watch my matches on YouTube, you'll see from Hoboken, New Jersey, Mario Mancini, right?
Oh.
Wow.
Angel, I go into the ring for TV one night. Howard Finkel leans over and he goes, Mario, where are you from? I go, Fink, what are you talking about? I'm from Hoboken, New Jersey. He goes, not anymore. Where are you really from? I said, Milford, Connecticut. He goes, from Milford, Connecticut. And I'm like, I never understood why at 20 years old, they took away Hoboken, New Jersey from me. You get a little older and a little more educated, a
Yeah.
little mature. I kind of could guess why they I lost every match. Every one of them on TV, I lost every one of them. So I could kind of make a stab at it why I couldn't be from Hoboken anymore.
Oh my God. But that was your job, right? To lose every match? It's not
Sure
like
was.
you were-
Well, you put the name together, hun. That was your job, right, Mario? Jobber. That was your
Java.
job. Jobber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did that bother your father?
Of course it did. Of course it did.
You're not using your last name?
Well, listen, what I wouldn't do.
Hey, let me just excuse me for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, what I wouldn't do, which was recommended to me, they said, why don't you change your name legally? And I said, I wouldn't hurt my father like that. That would crush
Oh,
me.
right.
Never do that. I said, I can't do that. I won't do that. But yeah, listen, Roma, it bothered Roma to the point where, and this is a true story. The guy he wrestled that beat him in the beginning, because he had such a tremendous body. If you look him up on YouTube, Paul Roma,
Okay.
there's no way he could be held back. I mean, he came out of bodybuilding into pro wrestling, so he was carved out of stone. So there's no way he was going to be down for long. But you have to pay your dues in the beginning before you become a star, right?
Right.
So he couldn't take it so bad that he looked at me and goes, I'm just going to beat him up in the parking lot. I'm like,
Oh,
no, you can't do that. You can't do that. He goes, well, he can't beat me in a fight, Mario. I go, no, Paul, you can't beat the guy up in the park. That's not wrestling. You can't. And he was concerned about his father seeing that stuff because, you know, I respect what happened. I respect everybody's nationality. I don't know what happened. I respect everybody's nationality, but how do I get rid of this thing? But, you know,
we don't
unless you're Italian, you're not going to understand.
Right.
You're not going to understand about the respect and the pride, and you're not going to get it unless you're Italian. So, I felt my Uncle Joe Mancini, he was a mailman in Stamford, Connecticut. He'd call my mother up. Glor, they're killing me at the post office. When is he going to win on TV? I go, never.
Oh, wow.
He call her up, Glor. They took him out on a stretcher. They're killing me at the post office. So finally there's a show, an outside show in Stamford. And I see who I'm wrestling, and it's not TV, obviously, but I know I'm going to win. So I go, Ma, call Uncle Joe up and tell him to bring everybody he can bring from the post office.
Oh.
So I went, I hit that second rope and came back with a reverse flying body press. 1, 2, 3. The ref has my arm up. I'm looking for my Uncle Joe. My Uncle Joe's there. It
Oh,
was, it was hard. It was hard being Italian in that business because you know what, when you say Italian in pro wrestling, the first person that comes to your head is Bruno Sammartino, and
right.
for me, he was the greatest wrestler in the history of wrestling. To me, he was the greatest champion. And I say this on a lot of podcasts that a lot of people, they grow up, they end up, idolizing Mickey Mantle or Reggie Jackson or,
Right.
Michael Jordan. I grew up, looking at Bruno Sammartino. I mean, when people were looking at Terry Bradshaw and Jerry Rice and all these other guys and Reggie Jackson and Pete Rose, I had 8x10s of Bruno. I had cutouts of magazines on my wall. It was Bruno. And I say it all the time, sometimes you get down on your life, but to actually grow up and become friends with the guy you had on your wall,
Exactly. Wow.
that when you sit back and look at that, that's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Yes,
You
it
know what I
is.
mean? A lot of people go, oh, I grew up, Chief Jay Strongbow was my hero. And I'm like, he was my second dad for 28 years. You know what I mean? Joe Scarpa, he was Sicilian. He was Italian. You know what I mean? So people, I'm like, listen, people still today, they're like, hey, how good of friends are you with Tony Atlas? I take my phone out and I pop up his number. I go, this guy, we're really close.
Yeah.
So I feel I always say that I was on the low end of the food chain of the wrestling business. But I still feel very fortunate because I broke in July of '84, 8 months before WrestleMania 1. I saw all of that unfold, all of it.
Wow.
All of it. I met Danny DeVito. I met Joe Piscopo.
Oh, nice.
Cyndi Lauper was there all the time, obviously. I met a lot of people. When I wrestled in Tampa one time, George Steinbrenner was in the front row.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I met. I still feel very. They had to like me. I mean, even though I lost every match on TV, I hung. They kept me there for 8 years. So it was no flash in the pan.
Yeah. Right.
So did I want to be Randy Macho Man Savage? Of course I did. You know what I mean? But I didn't have the politics. I didn't have the bloodline, and I was heterosexual. So I was 0 for 3.
Wow. How was he, Randy Savage?
Stiff.
What do you mean?
He was a nice guy, but the elbow was a little stiff.
Oh.
Yeah. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. I like to say that Randy Savage, I get an interesting question all the time. And the question is this: who was the closest to their character in real life? Randy Savage wins all the time. All the time.
Really?
I can see that. Yeah.
Angel, if you went up to him and said, hey, Randy, I was wondering, we're going to get some food after this, but, the place mainly serves steaks. And he'd go, oh, I wouldn't mind a steak. That's fine. Well, yeah, we can go there. That's good. Yeah. That was Randy. And it wasn't a shtick. It was just, the guys who were most opposite of what they were on the screen was like the Iron Sheik. I mean, he was a sweet guy. He was probably one of the most patriotic Americans I ever met.
Wow, really? Wow, that's something.
Yeah, Iron Sheik Nikolai Volkov. I was on the phone I called home for some reason from Poughkeepsie, the Mid Hudson Civic Center, and it was like a few days before Christmas. And I was on the phone with my mother, and Volkov was walking by, and I said, Nikki, come here. He goes, what? I go, sing the Ave Maria to my mother over the phone. So
Oh my God.
he starts singing over the phone a little bit, and he gives me the phone back. My mother goes, who is that? I go, Nikolai Volkov. She goes, that big Russian. I go, Ma. She did the same thing with Freddie Blassie.
Really?
I brought her to a show with me, and we were in an empty arena, and Freddie was up near the ring. And I go, Ma, come and meet Freddie. Oh, I hate him. Him with that cane. He hits everybody with the cane, and he calls everybody a pencil neck geek. I can't stand that guy. I don't want to meet. I go, Ma, come and meet Freddie. So we walk up there. I go, Freddie goes, hey, kid. I go, this is my mother, Gloria. Oh, it's so nice to meet you, darling. Kiss on the cheek. He goes, we love your son here. He goes, you know, the thing about the wrestling business is you got to keep your head and you got to listen. And that's what he does. We love him around here. He's a very nice kid. It was so nice to meet you, darling. Had her hand the whole time. Kissed her on the cheek and walked away, but left my mother like this. Oh, my God, what a night. I go, Ma, it's the wrestling business. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I do it all. I did it to a student Tuesday night. He asked me something. I said, don't you ever ask me that again. If you ever ask me that again, you're going to be out of here, and that door is going to be locked, and you're not getting back in. Good luck on your career, and good luck going to other territories and other companies, because you're never coming back here. And he goes, Mario, what did I do? And I go, nothing. I'm just messing. He goes, oh my God, you had, he goes, you had me right here. You had me right here. I go, now when you go out to the ring and you're wrestling in front of 300-400 people, that's where you have to have them. You have to have them right there, right there. You know what I mean? So, we do that all the time. So, listen, I love the wrestling business. The wrestling business was number 2. I wanted to play for the New York Yankees. It didn't work out that way. I was a hell of a baseball player. Thurman Munson was my guy, and I wanted to be the next Munson, but it didn't pan out that way. So I became a professional wrestler. So then when I got out of wrestling, I went to law school.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, I had to go to college first. So, but I was a late bloomer because of professional wrestling. But even Roma, he ran a few schools, a few very successful wrestling schools, and he did other stuff, obviously. And it was Strongbow who was in tears when I called him from the parking lot of the law school on my first day, because he knows when these guys get out of wrestling, that's all they had. I was inducted in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2014, and I was inducted with Greg Valentine, Jim Neidhart, Harley Race, and Valentine, did his induction speech, and he said, I've been wrestling since 1970, and I've never done anything else. I don't know how to do anything else but this.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So, but you know what? A guy like Greg the Hammer Valentine, he commands a lot. You know what I mean? You hire him to go into a wrestling convention, you sit him at the table, and he's got a line. You know what I mean? You take the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, sit him on a table, and he's got a line. Same thing with Jake the Snake. Same thing with Tony Atlas. All these guys, they do very well. They do very well at wrestling conventions. They make a living.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, so the next thing for you, all of you, is this documentary in when is it coming out?
I don't know. I hope it comes out in a
Uh,
couple months, but I don't know. One thing I learned about Hollywood: snails. They are
believe me, I know. Yes. Yes.
right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Personally, I think they could have got a better guy, but anyway.
Oh, I know. There's a whole big thing that goes on here because a lot of people like Armand and I happen to love John Travolta. But then I met Armand and I interviewed him, and I happen to really like him too. So
Yeah.
listen, to me, nobody can play.
You're talking
Nobody.
about no. So
Nobody catches it.
Armand Desante, you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like I loved his thing in Hoffa when Nicholson went, I gotta do what I gotta do, and he just looked at him and he goes, yeah, what's that mean? I gotta do what I gotta do to get the union back. And he goes, what's that mean?
Yeah. He's a great actor, and he's so nice. He's such a sweetheart. He really is such a good person.
I mean, listen, I still enjoyed it. I gotta plug this in. I still enjoyed it, but it could have been. I don't know.
Is Paul still there?
Yeah, I just gotta. Let's just say I have my own philosophies. They might be biased, but I was talking in the office and I dropped some names. And I'm sitting back and the two lawyers are looking at me. I go, let me ask you something. Do you think if this thing was in full force, completely full force, anybody's getting lit on fire in the subway?
I can't.
No way. No way. No, that's not happening. But let's disband everything because it's not good. It's not a good thing. Meanwhile, these illegal immigrants are eating up the street. Good. Let them eat up the street.
I know, right?
Let them eat up the street.
I know.
Would have never happened. Never. Would have never happened. Would have never happened.
I know. It's such a shame.
Oh. That just makes me so angry.
I know.
It makes me so angry. It really does. It really, and I have 3 daughters, and these poor women, the poor women getting raped and killed, and it's terrible. New York is terrible.
Yes, it is. It's becoming. See, I'm on Long Island, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But it is. It's ugly.
Yeah.
And Marla's in a beautiful. She's in the Poconos.
Oh, Marla, I love the Poconos. Can you give me an update? Let me tell you something. Tony Altomar, he used to be tag team partners with Captain Lou Albano back in the 60s. They were the Sicilians.
Really?
Yeah, they were the Sicilians. So I want to go somewhere, right, Marla?
Yeah.
And he talked just like Mickey. Didn't look a thing like him, but he talked just like Mickey from Rocky. And he went, come here, kid. He goes, you want to take your girl somewhere? I go, yeah, I'd like to go to a really nice place, take her to a really nice place. He goes, you go up there, you go to Cove Haven. You get in that champagne glass jacuzzi. A little pool in the room with the sauna in it. What you do is before you give them, you duke them and tell them to put rose petals all over the bed and everything. And, fill up the tub and put the rose petals in the tub. And he gave me all this. And every now and then, I haven't even looked on. I haven't even Googled them to see if they're still around. But I loved going. Is Cove Haven still in business?
It's still there. It's under new management. I believe they're renovating. But yeah, I don't live too far from there.
But let me tell you something, though. Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas own that place.
Really?
Yeah. They had an MC there called Honest Phil. Yeah, an MC there called Honest. Listen.
Cove Haven is the one with the heart-shaped bathtub and the
champagne thing that everybody likes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's under renovation, huh? Well, I'm glad it still exists. If somebody's ever brave enough to go out with me and maybe have a relationship with me, then maybe I'm married 3 times. I don't know. Who knows? But the 4th time's a charm, Roma.
No, the 50th.
Yes.
Or the 50th time. Listen. No, listen. It was a fun. Listen, it's on Wikipedia. I can't escape it. I've been married 3 times. The first time I was married, it was for 11 months. I don't even want to count it, but I don't think it should be counted. But Honest Phil was up there. He was a funny guy. He was a funny guy. He was. There was Honest Phil, Angel, and there's one joke that stood out in my head, and for all these years, because I think the last time I was there was 1989. In fact, Roma will tell you, we were in Jersey. And this older guy comes up with his wife, and he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" I go, "I'm sorry, I don't." Yep. He hands me a picture. He goes, I go, "That's me." In 80 shorts, up to the crotch.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And I go, he goes, "And that's me." He goes, "I picked you off at Cove Haven. That you were Mario Mancini." He goes, "We had dinner together that night." I go, "I remember now. I do remember. I do." So some guy met up in Cove Haven, and we were talking about Honest Phil. I go, "Remember that joke, Honest Phil?" I go, "I never forgot it." He goes, "That was his biggest joke. It was a great joke." I thought it was anyway. It was a great joke. So,
oh my God.
Listen. So listen. Here's the joke, right?
Yeah.
The Godfather sitting in the room. He looks at one of the guys. He goes, "Go get Vinny." So Vinny comes in the room. He goes, "What can I do for you, Godfather?" He goes, "Go in the bathroom and take care of yourself." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Go in the bathroom and take care of yourself." He goes, Godfather goes, "What did I just tell you?" So Vinny goes in the bathroom. He takes care of himself. He comes out. He goes, "All right, Godfather, I did." He goes, "You sure?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Good. Go in and do it again." He goes, "Godfather," he goes, "Listen, you want some trouble, then I'll go in." Guy comes out. His tie's undone. His hair's undone a little bit, all messy a little bit. He's like, "All right, Godfather, I did it again." He goes, "Good. Go in and do it a third time. He goes, I don't know if I could do it. He goes, go in and do it a third time. So he goes and he does it a third time. He comes out, his shirt's out of his waist, his hair's all messed up, he's beat red, he's panting, and he goes, I'll do anything. Just please don't ask me to go into the bathroom and do that again. I can't. It won't work. I can't do it. Godfather goes, good. Here's the keys to my car. Go pick my daughter up from the airport.
That's good.
That was good.
Yeah, honest Phil.
Very good.
Yeah, honest Phil.
Oh,
yeah.
that's funny. That was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, honest Phil. Yeah, good guy. I think he passed away, but good guy. Poconos, huh, Marlon? The
Yeah.
Poconos.
Yes.
Yeah. You got some snow coming up there or what?
It's snowing now. I don't know how much we're supposed to get, but we haven't really had a big snowfall yet. But the skis are open.
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah, there's a lot of skiing up there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see your picture up there, but yeah, is that the person next to it? Is he like it's blurry there? Is he next or?
It's my son.
Oh, all right. No exposure. I got you.
Yeah, she
No
doesn't want
exposure.
people to see her son.
Yeah,
Marla's a beautiful woman. Marla's beautiful. She doesn't update her photo. She doesn't want.
She is. Now listen,
Angel has a lot of weirdos that come at her.
She's stunning. She's absolutely stunning.
She is beautiful. That's not even, that picture does her no justice.
Absolutely stunning.
Well, thank you too. But like I said, you've got a lot of weirdos that come after you, Angel.
I could,
He's a hot tamale on here.
Well, no, it's like when Angel called me back, she's like, "Sorry, Mario, I got a lot of people calling me. You know what I mean? I go, no, not you. Why would they try to call you? You know what I mean?
No,
I can't imagine the traffic you get. I can't even fathom the traffic that you get.
And they get possessive of her too. They're so possessive. It's that they're her Angel. Like, oh, she's married. You guys, settle down.
You know what it is? It's if I don't know you, if I have this thing on my phone, I don't even know what it's called, but if I don't know the number, it goes straight to voicemail. So I don't know who's really trying to call me or not. But I took it off this week for a few days because I know Lee was giving you my phone number, but I didn't recognize the name. I said, who the heck is this? I'm not answering this. And you didn't leave a message.
No, I don't leave messages.
I know.
Because I'm like,
I
what
don't
if
like
it's the
to
wrong
leave
number?
messages either. I don't like to leave messages.
Right. It's a thing, right? It's a thing.
Yeah. My sister will leave you a message that takes about 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
You got one of those sisters too.
Yes. My sister does do that.
Yep. Awesome.
So we've been on for an hour and a half.
That's not bad.
Well,
An hour and a half we've been on.
It definitely was fun. It was fun.
So now, when can we have you back on again?
You just let us know, right, Roma?
Just let us know. Anytime.
I know, but Paul, next time we need to see you.
I'll tell you what we're going to do next time so this doesn't happen again. Roma and I'll sit
on Mario's lap.
Yeah, we'll be together. Next time we'll be together. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they could get a hold of Roma.
I have my dear friend Jerry who does all the editing. He's probably going to add in Paul's picture so it doesn't look, you know what I mean? He'll add his pictures in here, and he'll probably add in all your information. So where can people,
and your social media links too?
Well,
yes, How can
It's
people get in touch with you, Bo?
you know that more than me, Roma. Is it Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling or Professional Wrestling?
Professional wrestling.
All right, Paradise Alley Professionalwrestling.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can actually find Roma on Facebook. Plenty of people inbox Roma and go, "Hey, I'm interested in being a professional wrestler." You know what I mean? Paradise Alley Professionalwrestling.com. Our phone numbers are on there. If you're interested in being a pro wrestler, we do a couple podcasts with our dear friend and maestro, the master Amir. We do Hey Roma podcast, and we do the Power and Glory podcast. So Hey Roma is self-explanatory.
I watched it.
Yeah,
I
Hey
watched
Roma.
that. Yeah.
Did you? Good.
I
Hey
watched
Roma,
it the other night. Yeah. Lee was on it with you guys.
right.
Yeah.
We also have Power and Glory. So Roma was tag team partners with Hercules Hernandez, and their tag team was Power and Glory. So,
wow. Yeah.
In honor of these guys, we took that name. It's the Power and Glory podcast. Power and Glory is about professional wrestling. Hey Roma is about anything.
Okay.
So it's about politics. It's about current events. It's about sports. It's about anything. So we do that with Amir. So we have a good time doing that, and it's under Victoria, right, Roma? Yeah. So you can find us on YouTube, the Hey Roma or the Power and Glory podcast, and
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been getting good. They've been really receptive to that, and because like you guys, everybody has their questions and they're curious about the wrestling business. Even when it comes down to taking that athletic tape and wrapping your wrist,
right,
and then you take a piece of athletic tape and put it backwards so the sticky part's out. The butterfly razor blades, you had to twist the bottom and it opened up, and you put the blade in one of those blades and you cut it, and you put a little piece of tape underneath it and you stick it right there on that sticky part, then put another piece of tape over it. Guy slams your head, you take that out, boom, star bleed.
Wow. Wow. That's weird. Wow.
If you go back and watch matches where they bled and you really look, you will catch it. You will catch the guy's head being slammed, and you will catch this. You'll catch it.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, you'll catch self-mutilation, right, Angel?
Yes. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now that he said it, I'm going back to look.
Me too. Me too, definitely. Wow. I had so much. I really had so much fun. This was so good. Marla, how'd you like this?
I loved it. Thank you guys, both of
I
you. This
loved
was
it
really
too.
interesting.
And I had fun too. I have to say I was thrilled to do it. I was thrilled to do it.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making the time. Thank you very much, both of you.
And you know what, fans? Do you know why I did it?
I know why you did it.
It was out of respect.
Right. It's all about respect.
That's right.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you.
Guys, anytime. Love talking to you. If you need anything, if you have any questions, if you'd like another guest, if you want Amir to come on here next time, if If you
Sure.
have it, just reach out to me and let me know. And like Lee, I'll, and he does it for me too. I consider it a whole network of a family. So anything I can do for you, help you with a guest, help you get a guest, anything, reach out. Reach out. Well, Roma and I'll help you all we can.
Now, you good friends with Teddy Atlas?
Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas. Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was Teddy. I might have the name wrong anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you.
No
And I'm
problem,
really
guys.
looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, me too.
And the documentary.
And the documentary, yes.
Maybe that's the time to do it. Right after the
Yeah.
documentary's
I
over.
was just thinking that, yes.
Yeah, right after it's over, boom, we'll hit it again.
Yes, very good. Very good.
All right, guys.
Thank you
Stay
so
safe.
much.
Stay safe.
And you too. Thank you.
God
you.
bless. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Everybody loved him. Hundreds of people would be by the courthouse, and he, put up his finger to the government, and that's it. This man is dying, and you still have him in solitary confinement. He was tied, his feet to the bed, and his hands were tied to the bed. People want to question if my father was weak or tough. He had a severe kidney infection. He was sick. He didn't get to see a doctor. By the time he got off the bus, he was covered in blood. If there was ever a time to become a rat or something, it would have been then. No, instead he fought 5 trials. Eli has never had any conversation with my father. He lied about my son. Like, this is how sick they are. I defend my family. I think I do a pretty good job of defending my family. But other people defend my family also. I don't ask them to do it, but they do.